Good morning. This is Lisa Kendall, and I need to interrupt our Care Partner Connection office hours. I had intended to do part 2 of the caregiver respite recipes for respite, and I will do that. But I think it's important that I just acknowledge how sad I feel, and that I think a lot of you listening might be feeling the same way today. It's the 26th of October 2018, and we have all had a really difficult week in current events in our country. Bombs were sent through the mail to several people, prominent people in our country this past week. An African American grandfather and his grandson were shot just because of the color of their skin while they were out buying supplies for a school project. And 11 people at the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh were massacred in a horrific hate crime. And my heart is really full of sorrow today. And I want to recognize that it seems like there is a lot of hatred and fear that surrounds us now. We certainly hear it in the news. And when we're isolated because we're giving care to a family member or a friend or a loved one, or if we're professional caregivers and we're trying to hold other people in their illness or their care for others. As a therapist, this is my office, so I'm here all day, and I'm working one-on-one with people who are giving care to others or trying really hard to take care of themselves. And I try to hold space for people to feel whatever they're feeling about what's going on in their life and in the larger world. And we can be cut off from sources of support for ourselves. And I just think it's important that we pause and acknowledge that we do need connection. We do need to pay attention to our own care all the time, but even more so when we're feeling the weight of current events and what is happening in the world. Because it's easy to get focused on these acts of hatred and to lose sight of the tremendous good and love that is in the world and that is at work in the world. I believe deeply in that love. It's why I wanted to create this community. It's why I wanted to offer something that would help connect us. It's why I call it Care Partner Connection. I'll talk more about that term care partner and why I use it. It's connected to my work with the Eden Alternative. It's deeply meaningful to me. And the idea of connection is so powerful. It's literally the glue that holds us together as human beings and as citizens of the universe. It's something supernatural. It's something metaphysical. It's more than us being here in this place and time together. It's something that transcends that. And it is love. It is the power that holds us together, even when we think we're alone, even when we are feeling the impact of acts of hatred, even when we're feeling the fear and the sadness. So let me just share a couple of practical tips about how to cope with what you might be feeling today. It is important that we know what's going on in the world, so do pay attention to the news. But you've heard this before, try to limit how much time you're spending in front of the TV or listening to the radio or on your computer or your smartphone. There is only so much new news, so get the headlines, and then if you can, just switch that off for a while. Your nervous system, the part that's responsible for your survival and your safety, the part that triggers fight or flight chemicals in your body, doesn't know the difference between hearing that bad headline one time or hearing it 100 times. When it hears it, it thinks it's happening over and over and over again. I know that doesn't sound rational, but that's how our survival system is built, and that's why you'll get that clutch in your gut every time you hear it. So hear it once, understand the reality of what's happening, and then turn the news off. This is important if you are a caregiver for someone who's living with dementia too. They may have a hard time understanding that the story has happened and that it's not happening over and over and over again. I remember during the 9/11 crisis visiting a home, and someone who was a World War II veteran was sitting in front of the television and watching over and over and over again, just as we all were, the images of the airplanes hitting the towers in New York City. Horrible time for all of us. And I asked the family member who was caring for this gentleman how the veteran seemed to be reacting, and they said, well, he doesn't seem to really be noticing what's going on, but he was glued to that television set. And within a few days, this fellow, who had always been very gentle, had a very violent kind of reaction during a meal, and started just throwing dishes, and was obviously really, really upset. Had to be taken to the hospital because the family couldn't calm him down. He never came home from the hospital. He was so upset, became very ill at the hospital, and did die during that time at the hospital. I don't know, and I don't know that anybody knows if seeing those images was what triggered his violent episode. But I don't think it was good for him, and I don't think it's good for us to just be repeatedly exposed to that over and over again if it serves no additional purpose other than to share information. Let's get the information, and then let's try to do something about it in terms of caring for ourselves and for each other. So here's what I recommend that we do. Limit the news. Give yourself time to grieve. If you need to cry, cry. If you need to talk about it, talk about it. Light a candle. Attend a service or a vigil in your community. Pray if that's your tradition. Do some writing about it. Do some journaling about it. If you feel angry, feel angry. We should be angry when things like this happen. We should be sad when things like this happen. Connect if you can in a positive way. Try not to get mired in more hatred or more fear. Try to reach for connection and for love. It's our only way out. I really believe that. Again, it is why I created this community. I hope that you will stick with us. I am going to post this video. You'll see it online, you'll see it on my website, and I will post it in the Care Partner Connection office hours community. If you haven't joined yet, I do again invite you to do that. Information about how to enroll will be on the front page of my website at lisakendallcounseling.com. It's free. It's my gift to you and to all of us who are trying to take care of ourselves and each other in challenging times. And just God bless you, and thank you for being there. Thank you for the work that you're doing for families, for your neighbors, for your clients, your patients, for each other. And may we have a more peaceful week.